Hey there hunters, how's it going? Back again today with a new video. This one is from Torchlight Infinite. So I was just taking a little break from PoE and I wanted to try out a build I hadn't played before. This one is the train build, Anger REHAN, popularized by Milky BK. I'll be sure to link his video down below. Great guy, streams a lot, very helpful. So this is a attack build. You use a channeled skill to trigger burst, and burst does a lot of damage. So let me just do a quick dummy test, and then I'll run a map, and we can talk about the build. So there's a short ramp-up time, but then we very quickly get up to, 450, 500 million damage. This is more than enough for, any T7 content, and I'm kind of just like working my way up towards T8. So this is a really fun build. It does an insane amount of damage. It's really fast, and it's low input, which is one of my favorite things. So let's just run a quick map here. Okay, kind of cheating here with God of War, but why not? See, all you do is basically run through the build. Any enemy near you or that gets tapped by your Savage Charge will get hit by Burst. Burst is scaled by our cooldown reduction, and it goes off about 10 times per second, give or take. What's really nice about Blink is that it doesn't interrupt your channeling at all, so you can just fly through the map. I'll skip the city, just for brevity's sake. And boom, boss is dead. Is that good? Why not? Okay. Let's see, so I need to talk about the skills, passives, and my gods. So let's see. Let's start with our passives. So this is a pure physical damage build. We're going God of War, Shadow Dancer, and Ranger. You're looking for just generic damage, crit damage, etc. You want to go for brutality, 35% additional damage. And then instant smash. Crits ignore armor, and you get extra bleed. The trauma is just kind of irrelevant, but crits ignore armor means that all of our damage just has 0 resistance and we smash all the enemies because we have basically 100% crit. For Shadow Dancer, it's kind of the same thing. You're looking for damage, crit, physical damage, movement speed, etc. I'm going for Ambition. This is where I get Fervor. And then Hair Trigger. So this gives me about 30% additional damage with the downside of having to gear for cooldown recovery speed. Ranger is the same. You're looking for just crit, life, damage, etc. Gravity is really good because you get additional damage, but then reverse knockback means you pull mobs along with you, and it like groups them together and then makes overlaps a lot easier to get for your explosions. You got a couple options here. I'm going with Impending because I already have crit cap, but if you're not capped, I definitely recommend going for Keep It Up. Impending is good, really just for bosses. As you can see, most mobs die instantly, so you don't get the full benefit from it, but bosses and in T8s is where it starts to get good. For your divinity slates, you basically just want to go for quality of life and damage. I went for the chance to gain blessings, radius, res, skill radius for tenacity blessings, which is really nice, helps you offset and just cover more of the screen, movement speed, damage. We're here, flat damage, this is really good from the way burst scales. So this is just crit, attack speed, fervor on crit, this is really nice, just gets you to max a lot faster. This is a nice one. I was able to get additional damage at the center of your hits, and then extra crit damage, which are then 20% stronger from this one. And for my skills, we're using Savage Charge. This is sort of our like proc engine. Gives us additional movement speed and hits everything around us, which then in turn procs Burst, which is our primary damage source. I've got it with AoE, attack, focus, and Mark. So this is just additional damage, which will scale our burst. Crit, which again helps proc our burst, and then Hardened, which is just a little bit of defensive. Potion, mobility, magic dash is really nice. Defense and damage. For auras, I'm using Fearless, crit rating, and radius. Then Acuteness Imbue with Imbue buff. So this comes out to be around 22-ish% additional fizz damage. And then Trauma Strike is really great because there's just another source of burst. You want Precise Swiftness for the cooldown recovery speed and movement speed. And then Vulnerability with Abysmal Hatred for Curse on hit. Soul Candles can be kind of tricky. I got really lucky. This is kind of a dream one for me. The tiers are a little bit low, but movement speed, CDR, and radius. And then this one is LE res, damage, and CDR. I've just been blasting cities and combining these, hoping to get better rolls, but these are fantastic for now. Let's see. For your hero traits, Burst is our primary source of damage. So it deals 550% of weapon damage to enemies within 3 meters. So you want the biggest possible axe you can have. Crit rating for every 5 points of rage. You get a ton of rage, ton of crit. So this is nice. It lets you support burst with supports and rage on kill. So this gives you less damage by your active skills, but 120% additional burst damage. This is insane. The downside is less area, but that's why we're gearing for so much radius. And then finally here we have reverberation. So this means your crits as well as your hits, I think. So you can like double proc burst. It's pretty wild. I'm using Varagon Symphony. It's just 18% additional damage while Berserk is up. Hard to go wrong. I'm using crit damage and steamroll. These are just the 2 biggest multipliers you can fit. And then for your memories, you want to get at least 10 rage on crit. So I have 2 of these. Movement speed is Q, is just quality of life. You could opt for something that's more damage, but I'm just trying to have a fast mapper here. So I have 2 of those, and then my third one here is just additional damage. For my items, I'm using the sort of core legendaries that most attack builds will use. Heavyware just gives you a big chunk of life, armor, aggression resistance, strength, and then enemies near you take more damage and also deal less damage to you. So really strong offense and defense in one piece. Praise for injury. This is my explosion source. Really great for clear. Also gives you life and strength. Vortex Heart is probably one of the biggest multipliers just because of focused strike. 40% additional damage is really hard to beat. You're not going to find that on pretty much any other amulets. And then you just get 3 or 4 really counting strength, good damage stats with the downside of reduced skill radius. So I offset that with Pale Mist's Embrace. You can get a corroded version. So now any radius you get is just a net benefit, and it scales your damage. This also has just a strength, life, and res. Hard to go wrong. My crafted rares are just pretty straightforward. You want life and resistance with whatever damage mods you can fit in. These are nice. 40% movement speed, resist, and strength. My rings, pretty much the same. Life, resistance, fat fizz. My weapon, I managed to get pretty lucky. I got 2 of these nice flat damage prefixes. So all the strength I get just feeds into my damage even more. I'm going to be working on getting a better base to improve this, but this is fantastic for now. For my pets, I'm using mostly Quant because I just have so much damage. It works fine. I just have a red umbrella here for paralysis and a little bit of crit. Overall, this is a really fun build, really straightforward. It's easy to level. You just play like Flame Slash, Fire until, I don't know, level 42 is when I swapped over to Burst. It's not the best, but it works. You're gonna want to go Fizz by the time you get to level 80. There just isn't a good third god to scale like Pure Fire Tenacity stacking, for example. And Fizz just works really well. Overall, really fun build, fast, safe, easy to play, great to map, great to start. Next season I'll probably start with this. It just takes next to nothing to get going, and you just obliterate the game. Yeah, overall, 10 out of 10. Great build, Milky. Again, I'll link his channel below. Really great guy, super helpful. Always ready to answer questions. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I've got a couple more videos I think lined up for Torchlight and a couple more for PoE resets. But thanks for liking, watching, subscribing, and I'll see everybody next time.